We'll take another story. The senior special assistant to President Bola Ahmed TINUBU on digital and new media, Otega Ogra, has defended the president's inclusion of his sons, Sheyi and Yinka, among the delegation going with him to Qatar for a business and investment meeting. The list of delegates began circulating on social media on Tuesday in the wake of the president's directive to implement the Orosaye report to cut the cost of governance. Ogra, in a bid to defend the inclusion of the president's family among the delegates going to Qatar, said that some world leaders take their children on state visits to educate them about world affairs and different cultures and to maintain a semblance of family life despite the demands of public office. His tweet reads, "It is not uncommon for children of world leaders to accompany their parents on foreign trips. In fact, it is the norm. Canadian PM Trudeau is known to travel with his family on official trips abroad. Same with UK PMs, even if somewhat muted. From the public image and diplomacy angle, bringing family members can soften a leader's public image and aid in diplomatic relations by showcasing a relatable, family-oriented side. For some leaders, taking their children on such trips is a way of educating them about world affairs and different cultures. Others do it to maintain some semblance of family life, despite the demands of public office, and for security considerations. The Obamas, Clintons, Bushes, Trumps, and others went on tons of foreign trips while in office with their families. We really need to stop majoring in minors in the name of castigating everything." Well, he wrote hashtag Nigeria will succeed. Obviously, Nigeria will succeed, but you know that a lot of Nigerians have always talked about cutting cost of governance, even just in the wake of the Orosaye report, and the fact that, I believe it was COP28, that whole nonsense about the huge delegation came up. Well, let me take a reaction. This person wrote, "Lagos has always been a family business, and now Nigeria is going to be a family business too. The oppressed are the ones defending them. As Nigerians are bleeding, Nigerian politicians in their various positions are still living in luxuries, living large on their bogus salaries, compensations, allowances, loots, and other benefits. They'll come online to give out sweet interviews and talks, and then go back to their presidential villa to dine and wine. Nigerian people are none of their business. They are in politics to steal billions and enjoy the best things of life, while Nigerian people live in hunger, poverty, and misery on a daily basis." I see you nodding, Ayo. Obviously, you know that that's the rhetoric online because of what we've been talking about.
Yeah. Okay, so whenever we want to compare the economy of countries, and we use the UK, France, America as an example, they will say, oh, don't compare apples and oranges. There are two different realities. Right. It's unfair to compare. However, when it fits the narrative, as we've seen with that statement, then they would say, oh, look at America, US, and France, the same people. And I'm bringing that again, apples and oranges. Look at the size. Is America or is France going through the same thing that we are in terms of the economic realities of Nigeria? Absolutely not. Are they calling for a streamlining or a cut in governance, in cost of governance? Not at the moment. Right. So you cannot use that example, with due respect to Mr. Ortega, saying that I do agree that yes, for educational purposes or to expose your children or to present a sense of family life. If that were the case, they should take the wife, grandparents, everybody just to show that he's a family man. But if the state is sponsoring this at a time when we have just had headlines around the implementation of the Orosaye report, I believe that even for the optics, if you're not paying out of pocket, I don't know if it's the state that's sponsoring their trip. I want to assume that's the case. If that's the case, just because of what you keep asking Nigerians to make sacrifices to tighten their belts, then let us see that reflected in the spendings of the government. Right. Saying that, Mr. Ortega himself, we question the jobs of the SSAs and retinues of essays on media that the president has. Some of them need to go. I want him to keep his job, but I'm just saying that we have so many. So like I said, they're coming on Twitter, they're coming and just commenting on every single story. They need to show working. So this is what we see. But I think for the optics and in line and in accordance with what the president has said, let's stop all these trips for now.
I know you both want to comment.
Saying that other world leaders travel with family. The question to ask is, those family members that go with them, do they pay from their pockets, or are they following family, their father at state expense? Now, if you check in many other countries, you see that oftentimes, the presidents of those countries pay from their pockets if they have to go in terms of maintenance and all of that. You are citing the example of America, where in fact you can't eat anyhow at state expense in the White House. Otherwise, you have to pay, as Mrs. Obama pointed out. Now, in any case, there's also the famous example of Namibia, COP28 that you mentioned. In December 2023, President Gengub, now of blessed memory,
right,
he traveled to Dubai with 6 members of his family.
Yes,
there was outrage
right
in Namibia. Namibia Twitter exploded because people were saying, how can the president travel with his wife and then go with 4 children? The president's defense is that they had been planning vacation and that, members of his family were not sponsored by the state. So the question here is, who is paying for Sheyi TINUBU and Yinka TINUBU? Are they going there as business investors? Because the trip to Qatar is about investment.
Yeah.
So what business do they do? Because if they are investors, if they had one big company and they are also going to go there and help Nigeria achieve the objectives of foreign direct investment, then of course you cannot question it, because they will then be bona fide qualified to be on that trip. But if they are just going because they are daddy's sons, then Nigerians have every reason to say, what is their role there? Yeah. That's number one. Number two, in January, President TINUBU gave a directive that he was reducing presidential entourage for local and international travels. Now, what was assigned to the president then was an entourage of 20 for international travels, right? I think about 20 for international travels. There is a list that is circulating of main body. Main body means the team that goes with the president. Now, that list is in 2 parts. Some people will travel on the 28th. It's an advanced team of about 22, 20 something people. Then you have the main body, the other main body that will travel with the president on the 29th. Those ones, I think they are about 28. Now, if you add the figure, then you raise the question, is the president violating his own directive? Is he leading by example with regard to presidential entourage? We will expect an explanation in that regard. The third point to be made about the trip to Qatar is that there was some controversy about the note verbal that came from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Qatar, flying around all over the place, and then there was another note verbal when it became controversial that the business summit that the Qataris had said would not take place because of other commitments had now been allowed. But the point I want to make there is not about the diplomacy. You can exchange no verbal, aide memoire, bois du papier, as they call it in diplomacy. The issue is about government documents flying about.
This is my question. What is going on?
In the rules and guidelines for civil servants, there is nowhere that civil servants are allowed to be carrying sensitive government document and giving it to the media or distributing it on social media. In 2011, we had the Freedom of Information Act. If you want to access information, the Freedom of Information law outlines procedures by which you can access government documents, and there are exemptions provided for in that same law. But this one that everywhere is just porous, that every department of government, they have turned the government documents into something that just goes around.
Yeah, but I wasn't there a warning. There was a warning that was released by the presidency that
by the office of the head of service.
It was leaked as well.
Yes, even that was leaked.
That was
even that directive, even that circular was leaked.
Well, I know you have a lot to to say, Dr.
Yes.
Rufai? Should I
So-
take my final story and then you discuss both, or do you want to say
yeah,
this
take your
and
final
then
story.
we'll finish?
Take your
Well, it's
final.
more about cutting the cost of governance, but the state governors have done a lot, and now we're asking, and we've also highlighted the private sector as well. And then there was the news that came out about the airlines were talking about traveling. At last, the much anticipated discounted tickets for passengers traveling to London, England, on Nigeria's largest airline, Airpeace, is now available. The tickets have gone live on flyairpeace.com with return ticket fares at 1.2 million naira on economy class, while business class tickets are offered at reduced return fare of 4 million naira. Every Nigerian student studying in the United Kingdom, Europe, Canada, and the United States can now access their special 15% rebate on already reduced economy fares. Airpeace will commence its Lagos-London flight on March 30th, 2024. Sorry, when I saw this news yesterday, I was like, because I was trying to get a ticket to London, and it was 8 million naira on economy, on business class. I mean, you can see that. I mean, that's half of it. I mean, kudos to Airpeace and what they've been doing.
God bless
that
man.
Even with the student fares and all of that.
Because these are the same people that are still making Nigeria do it. I remember the pain he went through before he got that route to London.
Yes.
So kudos to him. As for, you see, that's why, Ayo, with due respect, I'm talking generally. I think if we really want to implement the Oral Ceremony, let's start by cutting all these Twitter SSCs. Because it's just duplication of duty. How can a full-grown man come out every morning to be replying on Twitter to everything, and it calls that a job? I don't know how people even, do they even feel fulfilled within themselves? Just because you want to carry title, I have government position. A full-grown man. And when you talk, you have wrong, funny arguments. If he wants to compare, why doesn't he compare the Nigerian president with Millie of Argentina that flew commercial airline in December? Air Argentina. I think that's a better comparison. And you are carrying two able-bodied businessmen on a plane with Obama that minus. You see, you can see the comparison, you can see, but that's what happens when we pack a lot of jobless people into government, and all they do is to tweet here and there and all of that. Like 15 people are tweeting for government on Twitter, which is at a waste of our resource. Even to build their own platform, they don't have. If not for Elon Musk, they will not have platform to work. So that's part of why we were saying yesterday that the Orosei report is another smoke screen. It's just, to be able to distract Nigerians.
Yeah.
It is staying in this government. We have special advisor on information and strategy. Then we have special advisor on media and publicity to the president. Can you imagine? What's the difference between information and strategy and media? So we have a lot of reproduction of duties. Hence, we have a lot of very faulty arguments. We should not be copying the wrong thing. Cost of government is high already. Taking 38 people for a trip to Qatar, and in the end, it's just promising they will bring home. All the investments in Saudi, where is it today?
All right. These are serious conversations, really pertinent questions.